I saw what I saw!
I saw what I saw, but no one believes me.
Predictable or unpredictable? Which version of life we get often depends on the risks we're willing to take. While some prefer the comfort and safety of what's known, others prefer the path less traveled. Why? The reward for having faced unpredictability, the discovery of the unknown. This is Hamilton Souther's story. Welcome to Spirinaturum.
I was in this state of internal turmoil, and I was in this ayahuasca ceremony in full 10 out of 10 or 100 out of 100 vision. And I was in this internal agony. And it wasn't just my agony, it was the agony. And it wasn't just the agony, it was all agony. It wasn't just all agony, it was all the human agony. It just went on and on and on. And there was so much conflict in it, and I was seeking peace. I tried to find source, I tried to find divinity, I tried to find God, I tried to find Buddha, I tried to find Christ, I tried to find spirits, I tried to find, and along the way I vomited, along the way I defecated, along the way I lost it, along the way I found it. I mean, along the way all these things happened, and then finally something just flipped like a switch inside of me. Yeah, well, I'm in the process of what's called a shamanic dieta. I'm probably, day 7 or day 8. So I wake up in the morning, crawl out of a mosquito net, and just welcome the day. Walk down to the river, go swimming in the river, and kind of enjoying the beauty of the early morning in the Amazon. When you get in a canoe, you go out and fish, and you come back with fish, and then you prepare breakfast. You go to the agricultural plot. You collect some fruit, some plantains or some manioc, and then you rest for a few hours in the afternoon, and then you go into a sacred plant ceremony. And then you go to bed around 2, 3 in the morning to wake up at 5 again and do that again. And that's considered training. I'm thinking to myself that the dieta is going well. The dieta process is a time where you drink different non-psychoactive plants. So the day goes on pretty normally. Just go through the day. Nothing, stood out about the day. I have a friend who's out there doing the dieta with me. His name's Gustavo. So Gustavo and I are in the house. It gets real quiet around dusk, and then it starts to get really loud as it goes from dusk into night. Forest kind of wakes up. It's pretty dark. I mean, it's like pitch black outside. A light starts going on and off and on and off, like somebody is turning a flashlight on. I'm in a hammock about halfway in the middle of the house, and Gustavo's sitting over in the living room. It doesn't have a ceiling, and it doesn't have a lower part of the walls. So this is about 20, 25 feet away from me. Feet. I actually think at that time, I have an assumption which is wrong. I think that somebody's got to be standing right outside the wall, flashing the flashlight inside the house, like playing some kind of prank or practical joke, something like that. And so I yell, hey, is anyone there? No answer. Just the light goes on and off. And on and off. Immediately, all the hair on my body stands on end. Just like electric goes everywhere. So I quickly go over to Gustavo, and I grab a bottle of this kind of like elixir. It's a mixture of like camphor and garlic and white onion, and the shamans out there make it, and they say it wards off bad spirits, right? I run to the back of the house. Like, I'm gonna go confront this thing, whatever this is. And I burst the curtain open. And I take a mouthful of this elixir. And I'm gonna blow it at this thing, whatever it is. And there is a luminescent being standing in the room. And the light of the being is going on and off and on and off. And I can see right through this thing. It's an old man, long white hair. It's about 5'8" to 5'10" in height. It's standing there next to the bed, like it's not floating in any way. It doesn't have any expression to its face. It's dressed in these purplish, translucent robes, like lavender. When the light goes on, they become more purple. When the light goes off, they become white. And when the light goes off, it just glows, like very faint glow. So I get scared. Fear rushes through me. What is this thing? Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if it's helpful. I don't know. What is this thing? And when it sees me get scared, it recognizes me. It turns and it runs right through the wall of the house. Now, the house wall is halfway bamboo and halfway just screens, and just goes right through that. And now Gustavo sees this too, because we're completely sober. So it runs around the kitchen. You have this outdoor kitchen, goes around the kitchen, goes past the front of the house. We run to the front of the house to see this thing as it runs, and it runs down about 30 yards to the port where there's this lagoon on the edge of the river, and it just runs right across the river. Now, every place it runs, it leaves a splash in the water. Ripple as like a footprint hits the water in each place that it runs. As it's glowing, light on, light off, light on, light off. And it just runs right into the forest and disappears. I'm just shocked, right? So right after it runs off against the water, I turn to Gustavo, did you see that? And he, of course I saw that. Like, you see that? Oh yeah, I saw that. We start talking. Did you see that it was purple and white? Oh yeah, I saw it was purple and white. Did it have a beard? Oh yeah, it had a beard. Oh yeah, did it run like that? Oh yeah, it ran like that. Well, I think on the inside that this is a spirit, right? I think this is what the people in the forest have been talking about the whole time. I've heard this mythology that there are these beings that live in the forest. And this is a matter-of-fact concept of the deep Amazon. This goes way beyond the Western idea of a ghost. This is a being of the forest that lives in the forest, and they've been there forever, according to the locals. And that they get seen by the people who go into the forest at night all the time. So I think I'm having an actual real encounter as best as I can put together the mythology that in the stories I've been told and the actual occurrence. And then we hear this sound. And the reverie of that moment is gone. And we look at what's coming. And coming from the river is thousands of 3 to 4 inch long flying insects that are kind of like locusts or grasshoppers. It comes and it hits the house. They're on the outside of the screen for maybe about 5 seconds. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They go right through the screen. They do not rip the screen. They do not shatter the screen. They do not chew through the screen. They dematerialize, they rematerialize inside the screen, and they start flying around the house, and they are hitting us. We don't know what to do. You can't get them out of the house. There are too many. So Gustavo now has this potion. He's running around the house, and he's blowing this stuff in all directions, and it's not doing anything. So I decided I'm going to make like a smudge, like a fire of, like incense and stuff like that. I try and smoke these things out of the house. I get this big Palo Santo, it's this big, chunk of wood, and I need to make shavings of it, and I get a machete, and I'm chopping at this thing, raise up the machete, and I feel a force, an invisible force, just push the machete over, and it comes down and just cleaves my finger. Now blood's going everywhere, it's going all over the incense, right? I'm like, I will not stop. Gustavo's like, oh, take care of the finger. I'm like, no, forget the finger. We have to get these bugs. They're still passing through the screen. It's still coming in from all sides. I finally get the thing lit and the smoke starts going, and they don't like the smoke. They're going everywhere because of the smoke, and then they're vanishing. One lands on the table. I grab a big flashlight and I crush it and I kill it, and it crunches underneath the flashlight. And I keep blowing the smoke, and there's a billowing smoke going everywhere, and I'm running around the house just trying to smoke these things out. The smoke clears and there are no insects at all. There are none. I still have the cut on my finger. I go to, cover the flap, bandage it up, put some toilet paper around it, put some pressure on it. And I go back to the table and I look at Gustavo and did that really just happen? Like, or was that a vision? Like, what reality are we in? And we both look back down to the flashlight. I pick the flashlight up and there's a stain, an actual wet stain of the shape of the bug in the table. But there's no physical material there at all. We don't know what's going on. We're scared to go outside now. We don't want to leave the house. We're scared to be in the house. The guy who's overseeing this dieta process, the master, is gone. He's off in the forest. We don't know if he's involved. We don't know if he's not involved. Right? Did he conjure all of this? And is he playing games with us? Could somebody do that? All right, so we just decided to sit down and have some mapachos.
A mapacho is made from Nicotiana rustica, commonly known as Aztec tobacco or strong tobacco. It is a rainforest plant in the family Solanaceae. It is a very potent variety of tobacco, containing up to 9 times more nicotine than the common species.
Drink some of the lemongrass tea that you're allowed on the diet and just wait this out. And a couple hours go by before the master comes in, and he just nonchalantly comes into the house. And we tell him all about it, and he just goes,
Yeah?
I tell him, when this happened. Yeah? We go, what does all of this mean? And he goes,
Oh, that's a test of your dieta. Esa es una prueba. That's a test.
and that's all he says. That's it. So we're done with the dieta, and now we go into another series of psychedelic experiences, and then we go from there into dieta again, and then back into another series of visionary experiences, and that is training. So I'm out hunting by myself. I go down a game trail, probably about 45 minutes into the forest, and I stop to have a mapacho and just take a rest. And I realize I'm lost, like completely lost. I have literally no frame of reference for where I am. I've marked my trail. I can't find it. I have to walk from where I am out within the next hour, or I am going to be engulfed in darkness, and I'm going to be out there by myself. And if I walk the wrong direction, I'm dead. I first start to panic. There are jaguars, poisonous snakes, and these things, these supernatural things are out there. Like, I don't know. At this point, I don't know what's in the forest. I know the natural world of the forest. I think to myself, maybe I could make a fire, if it really comes down to it. And then I sit down. I think to myself, they talk about, like they being the jungle people, they talk about this dwarf entity that they call the Chuyachaki.
The Chulachaki, Chula meaning single, odd, unpaired, asymmetric, Chaki translates as foot. Also known as the Shapashiko, is a mythical forest creature of the Peruvian and Brazilian Amazonian jungle. It is said he has the ability to turn into any animal of the rainforest. He is a kind of forest spirit who guards the lands and the animals and punishes a man if he breaks a taboo or otherwise acts unwisely in the forest.
And he's supposed to be the king of the forest in their mythology. So I think to myself, can the Chuyachaki walk me out of this place? And so I sit down and I do what they do. I bless this mapacho and I place it and I say, just sort of out to the forest. Chuyachaki, this is for you. I have one, and I sit there and I'm smoking it, and I get about halfway through it, and I hear a clear voice, clear as day. Hear it, not inside my head. I hear the voice say, "Walk to your right." I start walking to my right, and the voice says,
Not so much to your right, a little straighter.
I'm walking through the forest, I'm making a new trail. And there are these clearings that are called like the plots of the Chiachaki, like agricultural plots. And it's where this one kind of tree grows. And no other plants grow there. Now, scientifically, they say this ant that's part of the ecosystem clears the forest. And in the mythology, the spirit does. I come across one. Now, I've been told none of these are out there, and I'm at one. And so I light another mapacho. I give him a mapacho. I'm like, oh, this is great. The voice says,
Continue straight. Go a little to your left.
now I'm marking everything because I know you can walk in a circle. Every 2 steps, I'm marking with a machete where I'm going. I walk another 10, 15 minutes, and I come to another of these agricultural plots. I look all around to make sure it's not the same one, right? Did I walk in a circle? No, it's not the same one. This goes on 4 more times. In total, I come across 4 of these things. And I keep getting told to walk straight,
a little to the left or a little to the right.
and I just keep walking. All of a sudden, I come across broadside into a trail. I have no idea where I am. Right? And I'm just so excited that I just immediately go left and I just start walking down the path. I get about 15 steps down and I literally hear,
Hey, dumbass. It's the other way.
in English, hear it, clear as day. I turn around and I start walking down the trail, and it's not 2 minutes down that trail, and I come to a merge with another trail that I actually know. And I walk that trail literally straight back to my house, and I get there right as night is falling. The locals are scared. They're like, where were you? They can't believe I'm back. They're like starting to organize a search party for me. I tell them that I've gone to 4 of these agricultural plots, and the Chiachaki walks me out of the forest, and they tell me it's impossible because there are none of those agricultural plots out behind the house, and they know that forest like the back of their hand. Everything becomes real. My doubts and fears about somehow what I'm learning being delusional or off is just gone. I literally start using that in the forest. Like, I need to find a plant that I don't know where it is. I ask that being, take me to the plant. I hear clearly where I'm supposed to go. I go walk right to the plant I'm looking for. So I was on this, visionary spiritual quest in this visionary state to try to figure out a solution of some sort for this incredible agony and pain and suffering that I was experiencing. And finally, something just flipped like a switch inside of me. And I realized I was creating all of it. At that moment, something that I think is closest to the account of what I heard of as soul, like awakened. And it was at peace. So, light another mapacho.
Just fine by me.
Thank you to featured guest Hamilton Souther for sharing his time and story. If you want to learn more about Hamilton and his work, visit bluemorphotours.com. And thank you to band Daisy for providing the featured track Ladder. If you're interested in learning more about Daisy and any other band you've heard on the show, you can visit the music page at tuiarts.com/music. All right, folks, thanks for listening. Stay true in the meantime, and I'll catch you on the next episode.